Amber Uper, and this is another episode of Mini Lathe Amateur. And this is actually part 2 of a video or videos that I'm making about a repair project on an old Chinese air gun that I got out of the scrap heap. And I'm trying to fix it, and I need the lathe to make the part that I need to fix it. So hopefully you've seen part 1. If not, then I will have the link to that in the description below. So let me give you a refresher on the pellet gun first before I move on to the lathe. So hang on, I've got to turn the camera. So this is the Chinese pellet gun that I'm attempting to fix. And as you can see, I got it taken apart. The stock is off of it and everything. I showed that in the last video. And basically this is an underlever. You cock it like that, and you can see the cylinder moves forward. Hopefully, maybe you can't. This thing right here, that's the cylinder. That's the inner cylinder. You can see that it goes forward and back. And that's basically what the spring pushes. Actually, there's a cylinder inside that cylinder. And here is the spring for the thing. That is what makes this a spring-powered air gun, basically. The spring goes inside the tube, and it compresses the spring. And then when you pull it back forward again, the inner tube that is actually the pump, or the air pump, whatever you want to call it, the thing that pushes the air through the barrel, that gets locked to the back. And then when you pull the trigger, it lets it loose and it slams forward and propels the pellet out of the barrel. And this one is a 177 caliber pellet gun. So, and the part that I'm making, because I have to replace, is this part right here. And I showed it in the last video. Here's the pieces that are broken, so you can see why I have to replace it. This is the thing that holds the spring in place on the back end of the gun. The spring sits like this, and this is basically the spring guide. When the spring compresses, it comes back there against that. Why they made that out of plastic, I don't know. There it is. Anyway, these old Chinese-made pellet guns are referred to as the B3 model for whatever reasons. So let's get back to the lathe work now. So as you remember, if you've seen part 1, I talked about the bolt and the long nut that I needed to modify to make the spring guide, and this is it in the lathe. You can see the flat here, and there's one of the holes, and then the other hole is under this jaw. And as you can see, I never got around, well, you probably can't see it from there, but I never got around to drilling the 6mm hole through this. I've got this was the bolt, and I've got it Loctited in to the long nut, and I've started cutting it down, and I've got to cut this part of it down to the same diameter as that plastic spring guide, so that the spring will slide over this part. It'll rest up against this shoulder here, and then this is the part that it sits in the back of the pellet gun. So this is the part, this is the spring guide, as you can see, and it is about like this. Actually, it's more like this. So that is what I still have to cut down to. So let's get on with it here. Now I've got this thing set up so that it is self-driving for the cut going that way. I know they have words for it, but I don't remember what they're called right now. And what I'm doing is I lubricate it with one that I have some cutting oil, and I use this thing to spread a little cutting oil on the part. I found that it cuts better if you do that. So then I just throw the lever here and away it goes. It runs slow, the long screw that propels the carriage. You can get it to go either way, out or in. In this case I have it running out. And it's fairly slow, but it needs to be that way. So it's just cutting along. And I have to keep doing this until I reduce the diameter of the bolt to the diameter that the spring will go over. I have the actual diameter specifications written down. I took measurements and all that kind of stuff. I have to watch this closely when it comes off the end, because there's not much space for the carriage before it gets to the yeah, I don't know what that's called right now. Brain fart. But anyway, we gotta get ready to unlock the carriage. And there we go. That's one cut. Now I just gotta keep doing this. One thing you need when you're running a lathe is patience. Because all of these processes take a while. You can't just hog your way through it. You break tools and mess things up. I'm using a carbide cutting tip to rough this out. You don't get as smooth of a result with a carbide tip, but you can cut faster. And of course the bolt steel is not real soft either. This isn't a hardened bolt, it's just a standard one, but it's still, it's, I do believe it's harder than just mild steel. I gotta grease that thing one more time. Yeah, here we go. Alright, so let's take a look at or how much more I've got to go. This is my old micrometer. This micrometer's got to be 50 years old. Where's my dad's? So, still got a ways to go yet. This part of it has got to be roughly 15-30 seconds in diameter and 2 1/4 inches long. So I'm going to keep cutting on this. I'm going to shut this off for now, and I'll get back to the video once I've gotten down to the diameter. Well, I'm back. I've got the this part of it cut down to the necessary diameter, and you can tell it's a little slightly on the underside, but that's not horrible, because that spring's got to slip over that thing. And it's got to be able to move pretty smoothly on it. So the thing I think I want to do next is to check the spring on the shaft here and see what kind of a fit I have. Clean it up just a hair. Already cleaned up the lathe a little bit because I don't like leaving the chips everywhere. So I'm gonna take the tailstock off and see how the spring fits. Well, let's get on with that. Gotta unlock the thing so you can turn that back. I'm gonna crank that out of the way so I can get it in my nut that tightens the tailstock onto the lathe bed so it won't move. There we go. Now we just slide that right off. Alright, so let's test this spring here. And the spring fits on there nicely. Got a little slop, which is good for when it gets compressed on there. And let's see now, if we go by that length there, looks like that's just right here. Now I'm going to have to taper this up here to act as a guide so that the spring goes on to here a little more easily. So I'm going to have to do that.